What is going on, guys? Stefan and Maverick here, S&E's Garage. And in the garage today we have our 2010 Wrangler. We were in the middle of actually shooting a video to do the front brakes, and we went ahead and got the right side done. But when we got to the left side, this caliper would not compress, so it is seized, and we now need to replace the caliper. So what we have here are two CarQuest calipers. I will leave a link in the video description below for calipers that'll work for you. You're also going to need some brake fluid, and you're going to need a couple of tools. So let's get right into it. So to get the caliper off, you're going to need a 13mm socket and ratchet or a wrench to go ahead and unbolt the caliper from the bracket. Like I said, we've already done that. So now we're going to grab a 21mm here, and we're going to zip this caliper bracket off to make room for the new bracket. All right, guys, so here we have our nice new caliper. You're going to know which caliper is left and which is right based on the bleeder. So with the caliper in place, your bleeder needs to be up top in order to bleed the air out of it. So this is going to be our left front. So I'm going to go ahead, separate the caliper here from the bracket with a 13mm, like I had mentioned, and we're going to install the bracket onto the car and then put our new hardware in and our new pads. Right, so now the caliper and the bracket are separated. You can go ahead here and line these up. Okay, get our new hardware. Now what's nice about these calipers is they're going to come with new crush washers for the brake hose, which is a huge plus. There's going to be 2 of them. And it even appears that it's going to come with a new, what is known as a banjo bolt. So we'll do one of these here. Just put them both on this, set it aside. And now we'll go ahead and install our hardware. Now our new pads, which are right here. Just have to find, here it is, my silicone brake parts lubricant here. Put a little dab on each one of these. And slide them into place like so. Like so. Okay, now we're going to take our new caliper here with our new caliper bolts. And again, you're going to want to make sure your bleeder is at the top. Okay, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to use our Mighty Vac here. I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do it. And we're going to suck all of this old dirty brake fluid here out of the reservoir, and we're going to get some fresh brake fluid into the system. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is a Mighty Vac MV8000 automotive test and bleed kit. So I will go ahead and leave this in the video description below. You are going to need this if you are doing a brake flush or a one-man bleed. So if you're trying to bleed this single-handedly, you're definitely going to need one of these guys. So we're just going to go ahead and set this up. This is going to go here on the pump. Okay, this cap here is going to go where it says to pump. So this is going to go here. Okay, our little bottle is going to go here. So it's going to sit just like this. And now this hose is going to go here. Now we're just going to go ahead and suck this old, nasty, dirty brake fluid here out of the reservoir. Okay, and we're just going to keep repeating that process until this master cylinder is completely dry. All right, guys, so we got our master cylinder there filled back up with some fresh Brembo .4 brake fluid. I'll go ahead and I'll leave some of that in the video description below. Here is the old stuff that we pulled out of it. It's pretty nasty. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to go ahead and pull the brake hose here off of the old caliper, and we're going to go ahead and install it onto the new one. So the first thing that we need to do is pull this little plastic cap that they have installed on the caliper to protect it during shipping. We're gonna pull that out like so. And then we're gonna go ahead, zip this off with a gun, and then install our new one with its new copper washers. Okay. Okay, just like that. Now this is going to start leaking brake fluid, so just be mindful of that. Okay, and we're just going to turn this caliper upside down and let it drain, because we do have to return this as a core. Okay, so we're just going to set this aside now. Stick it over there with the bracket. And now we're going to take our new caliper bolt here and line it up like so. Now these are copper crush washers, so you are going to have to tighten them a pretty good amount, because what you actually want them to do, think of them as a drain plug washer for an oil pan. What you want them to do is compress, and that is going to create a tight seal. So you don't have to murder it, but you definitely want to tighten it pretty good. And now we're going to go ahead and open this bleeder here. And we are going to let this gravity bleed while we start working on the other side. And that will get 90% of the air out of the system while we're working, so we're not going to be wasting time. So let's grab a line wrench. 10 and a 12, this should be it. Okay. And we're just going to open our bleeders. All right, we're just gonna let that, like I said, gravity bleed. Let's go ahead over to the other side now. All right, guys. So like I said, this is gonna gravity bleed. You can actually see the brake fluid dripping out of here. So it's gonna, it's almost gonna bleed itself to an extent. So we go in ahead, we set our jack stand up under the Jeep. We pulled this wheel off when we jacked up this side. And unfortunately, I just got done with the brake job over here. So I get to take it all back apart. I'm just gonna put you on a time lapse while I'm working. You saw what we did on the other side, and then we'll get back with you when we start bleeding.
I see danger in us. They know we'll burn down tonight. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away tonight. We're gonna let it away tonight. We're gonna let it away just like the sunrise. We're gonna let it away.
Alright guys, so we let both sides gravity bleed here while we were working. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is pump the brake pedal by hand, because we want to fill those calipers up with some brake fluid, because right now there's no brake fluid in them, and they're not all the way extended against the caliper and the pads rather. So we're just going to pump it up until the pedal gets somewhat hard. It's going to be spongy right now, but the main thing we're looking for here is the fact that the calipers are now going to be like this, pushed up against the pad. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to get our breather kit set back up, and we're going to come back here and we're going to start bleeding. All right guys, we're going to go ahead and get our pump set up. This little end here is going to go over the bleeder like so. Let me crack it open first. All right, we're going to set this, like I said, over the bleeder, and we're going to start pumping. And this should eventually start sucking some brake fluid in. There it comes. Okay, let's just let this do its thing. Now, all these bubbles that you're seeing in the line isn't necessarily air in the system. What you're seeing is air getting sucked past the bleeder where it threads into the caliper. So you don't have to, if you keep going until these bubbles stop, they're never going to stop, and you're going to suck your master cylinder dry. So we're just going to go ahead and do this. I'll run about 2 of these bottles through it, and I'm going to go ahead and fill up the master cylinder after I fill this one bottle up, and then we'll go ahead and do the driver's side. All right guys, we're going to come over here and we are going to do the same exact thing. Go ahead and set our bleeder up. Okay, open the bleeder screw and start sucking. All right guys, we just went ahead and finished bleeding this side. Let's just go ahead, we're gonna go in the Jeep. We're going to fuel our brake pedal. We just want to make sure we have a nice high pedal, which we do. So I'm happy with that. So now we're just going to go ahead, make sure our master cylinder here is topped off at the max level. Looks good to me. So we're going to go ahead, throw the wheels on, take it for a ride. Alright guys, we're here in the Wrangler. Before we pulled out of the garage, we went ahead and again we pumped our brakes just to make sure that everything was nice and filled with fluid, even though we did that while we were bleeding, or before we bled. But with that being said, we got all the air out of the system. Everything feels good here. It's driving nice. I hit the brakes. It stops nice. I'm happy. Everything's good. So if this video helped you replace the front calipers on your Jeep Wrangler JK or JKU, please like, share, and subscribe. Your liking, sharing, and subscribing is helping us keep this thing going, because we are at 275,000 miles and we show no signs of stopping. So again, we're gonna need all the money and all the like, shares, and subscribes we can get to keep this money pit rolling down the road. So we'll see you guys on the next one.